Good evening, and thanks to the American Foreign Policy Council, the Center for US-Ukrainian Relations, the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, and the Ukrainian National Information Service for the opportunity to speak on an issue that is critical not only to Ukraine, but to the entire democratic-aligned world. 80 years ago, the world faced a similar test. When tyranny threatened Europe in the 1940s, America and its allies stood firm, not because it was easy, but because freedom was worth defending. However, in the 1930s, we did not stand firm, and we appeased evil, and we let Nazi Germany become the threat we had to deal with in the 1940s. Today, Ukraine is on the front lines of that same struggle. The question before us is whether we will summon the same resolve to ensure that aggression does not triumph. Let's start with why Ukraine's fate matters. Moscow's aggression towards Ukraine goes back more than a century, when the Soviet Union crushed the Ukrainian independence movement. Under Joseph Stalin's repressive rule, an estimated 3 million to 5 million Ukrainians died during the infamous Holodomor, the death famine of the 1930s. Until the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, life in the Soviet-controlled Ukraine was blighted by collectivization, disappearances, executions, and gulags. Ukraine's ability to retain sovereignty and achieve its goals, democratic governance, prosperity, and peaceful relations with its neighbors, matters because it's a bulwark against aggression. Russia has already stepped up its provocations against NATO countries, including Poland, Estonia, Romania, and Finland. If Ukraine falls, it signals that Russia's war of conquest in Europe can succeed. Supporting Ukraine means ensuring that this war does not spread and the principle of territorial integrity remains intact. Additionally, the brave combat experience that the Ukrainian military now has only strengthens our partnership and common cause against any Russian aggression. On the other side, Vladimir Putin is dragging his feet on a full ceasefire deal, hoping the United States will cave to his demands for a complete end to military and intelligence assistance to Ukraine. A complete miscalculation on his part. We cannot let that happen. Now, what have we done to meet this challenge? Over the past year, Congress has taken significant steps to strengthen Ukraine and our own security posture. One of the most important measures was the Baltic Security Initiative, a program designed to harden NATO's eastern flank and ensure that our Baltic allies, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, are equipped to deter Russian aggression. The Baltic Security Initiative funding supports integrated air defense systems to counter Russian missile threats, cybersecurity enhancements to protect critical infrastructure from hybrid attacks, joint training and interoperability programs so Baltic forces can operate seamlessly with U.S. and NATO units, and the pre-positioning of equipment and munitions to ensure rapid response in a crisis. In the most recent defense authorization bill, I and like-minded congressmen assured that the approximate $450 million in Ukrainian aid was maintained in that bill. Beyond this, I'm in favor of another large military aid supplemental bill like we did in 2022 to the tune of $65 billion. We need to be setting long-range precision weapons like the cruise missiles, long and short-range air defenses, and upgraded F-16s to Ukraine. I'm also in support of tough Russian sanctions, and I'm working hard to force a vote on the House floor. I want to choke the Russians of every available dollar. A Russian victory in this war would quickly and predictably extend far beyond Ukraine's borders. Mr. Putin's statements and actions make it abundantly clear that he seeks to restore the old Soviet borders and regain the former glory of Imperial Russia. Fancying himself as a modern-day Peter the Great, he views Georgia, Moldova, and the Baltic republics as renegade states and the rightful property of Russia. These investments send a clear message. The United States stands with its allies and will not allow Russia to destabilize Europe. Alongside the Baltic Security Initiative, we continued military aid to Ukraine, artillery, air defenses, and logistical support while maintaining strict oversight and accountability. But we cannot stop here. The work ahead is just as critical. To secure lasting peace and stability, we must take bold steps. We need to shift the narrative. The West must embrace that Russia's defeat is necessary for lasting peace. The clarity will make it easier to provide Ukraine with the tools it needs, such as ATACMS, F-16s, and sustained funding. We need to unlock frozen Russian assets. These funds should go to Ukraine for reconstruction and recovery. International law is clear. The aggressor pays. We need to ratify a mutual defense treaty with Ukraine. This gives Ukrainians confidence and assure Americans benefit from a strong alliance. If Ukraine is asked to cede territory to Russia, the United States needs to be ready to provide enhanced security assistance and to support a European-led military presence in Ukraine, because we cannot trust that Mr. Putin will keep his word. We need to establish a snapback sanctions mechanism. If Russia invades again, severe penalties must automatically return. We need to respect Ukraine's sovereign rights, include the hosting of foreign troops for its defense and the defense of Europe on its soil if Ukraine wants. And we should welcome Ukraine's entrance into NATO. I believe this is the only way to give rock-solid security guarantees and to deter future Russian aggression. Let me close with this. Why Ukraine matters to all of us. Ukraine's fight is more about borders. It's about the future of freedom and stability in Europe and beyond. By standing firm and committing resources and guarantees, we not only help Ukraine achieve viability on its own, but also strengthen the security architecture that's kept the peace for decades. Supporting Ukraine is also about sending a clear message to authoritarian leaders worldwide that America will not appease or condone the violent conquest of the weak by the strong. The administration must be crystal clear that we are aligned with democracy, free markets, and the rule of law. If we stray from these values, we risk losing what makes America a great nation. History makes it clear that America has a moral obligation to continue providing aid to Ukraine until Russia commits to a fair and just peace negotiations. That means including Ukraine in the conversation. Peace won't be easy, but we must reject the trap of making a false choice. It is possible to end the war for Ukraine, preserve our moral clarity by holding Russia accountable, and advance America's long-term national security interests in the process. Just as America rose to the challenge in the 40s, we must do so now. This is our moment to lead, and we cannot afford to falter. One day in the future, Ukraine will be a bright, shining city on a hill for free markets, democracy, a leader in NATO, and a force to the rule of law. A strong and democratic Ukraine means we will have a safer world for all. In this fight with Russia, I am 100% on the side of Ukraine. Slava Ukraini.